All right, everybody, we are back. It's another episode of the Sports Clash. Rich Orleo here with Chris Carey. Chris, how you doing, bud?
Good man. Definitely doing pretty well overall, but had a little bit of a rough Sunday.
Little commute. Oh, rough Sunday. Yeah, I mean we all did. Um, that was a weird Sunday of football. That was a very weird Sunday of football. Um, the underdogs ate for the most part. Monday was even a little crazy. Uh, it started out beautifully though this week. Thursday. Me and you got together.
It was
We
nice.
did our plays on SoBet. We went 5-2, won almost 4 units. Got to enjoy some brewskis. I watched the Jets just decimate the Patriots, 24-3. It wasn't even a game. I've never been literally like I just was like, this is heaven for me to just be with my buddy, drinking beers, winning money, winning bets, and watching my team destroy our rival who have just dominated us for my entire life. It was a beautiful
Yeah, I
night.
bought in. I bought in that night. It was fun.
It was a
It was
blast.
a lot of fun.
So
Rogers looked great.
yeah,
It was a good time.
seeing Aaron Rodgers, is that gone? Oh. For the listeners, it's Yankees Orioles first game of a 3-game set. Yankees need one win to clinch the division. One win in a 3-game set. Orioles will be the wild card. They're not going to fall out. The Twins and Royals are just collapsing anyway. So you're fine. I mean, if they were on fire, you might worry a little bit, but you're fine. The
Right.
Tigers are now locked into a wild card. They're on fire. But it's the as we speak, we're recording it Tuesday night. This will be out Wednesday. It's 3-1 Baltimore. Stanton just missed a game tying 2-run homer. But well, I'm sure you'll get some live reaction from us throughout the game. But anyway, the Jets, was dominant, but then everything course corrected on Sunday for us. We both went 1-2 in our head-to-head picks against the spread. I think overall in the week we finished about 8-8, so fine, thanks to our Thursday. But yeah, Sunday was a mess. I don't know what other way to put it. And yeah, you look,
I wish I stayed pumpkin picking.
yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah.
fell asleep in the pumpkin field.
Yeah, I skipped out on apple picking that morning to do some prep. And yeah, maybe I should have just went pick some apples, thrown some money away on 40 apples that are all gonna rot in a week.
I mean, Granny Smith is undefeated.
Yeah, she is. Oh my God, Stanton, what the are you swinging at?
Goodbye.
Oh, goodbye. Oh, this is
Can't spell October without no two O's.
that's
Yeah.
all right. Let's dive in. We'll run through. We're not going to do a deep dive on every game, but we'll run through our bets and some other things we want to talk about. We'll start my first loss, and this game, this pissed me off. Vikings 34, Texans 7. Look, credit to the Vikings. This was a test of I know the Texans are legit. I know they're for real. I don't think the Vikings are. Sam Darnold has been around for a while. I know he can be beat. This is a great defense for Houston. But you're going into Minnesota. It was close. It was a 1 point spread. It was basically pick 'em. And I'm like, I'll take the Texans on that every day. And sure enough, the Vikings just blow them out. Texans look awful. That might be the worst CJ Stroud has looked in the NFL this in his career since his rookie year last year was unbelievable. They couldn't get anything going on offense. Their defense got torn apart by Darnold, Jefferson. Um, yeah, I mean the Vikings are 3-0 now, and they're legit.
Yeah, they are. I think in the Guy Dudes last week, I kind of said that they might be not legit, but boy, was I wrong on that one. Minnesota is sneakily a really tough place to play. It's a fast field and a loud environment, and they use it to their advantage. Their defense is better than I think anybody expected, and
That's
they're only going to get better when Hawkinson comes back. So, if I'm a Vikings fan, I'm pretty pumped about what just happened because the Texans in the first 2 weeks looked like they were going to be that team that was like 15-2 or whatever, like that team, and they very well still could be. But the Vikings definitely impressed. Sam Darnold with 4 touchdowns, like man. I mean, comes down to coaching. I think you said that last week. It's, coaches really do make the difference in the NFL. And if you have a good quarterback coach relationship, sky's the limit. Stock's up. So was it? I did not expect that game though.
No, I mean Kevin O'Connell, you got to give him credit. They came into the league as a head coach 2022 for the Vikings. They went 13-4. So right out of the gate, he looked good. Last year was a down year, but they're still respectable, 7-10. I mean, they weren't great, but they had, a lot of turnover there. And then now they've
They
started.
didn't have Jefferson too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you had injuries. That's always key. And now it's just you can't say anything about it. And I think they play Green Bay next week. If
That'll
they
be fun.
if they go into Green Bay and beat the Packers and go 4-0, then it's on. I mean, then it's on. I can't say anything about the Vikings. They're absolutely legit. Look, it's still early. It's 3 games. A lot can change. Um,
Right.
things can happen, but for right now, they are absolutely legit. I'll probably be staying away from that game. Um, why is Tim Meza in this game? Do we not care? Boone is just Boone's. I don't. Apparently, we just don't care about this game. Clinch the division. Who wants to clinch the division? You know,
I mean, we just got a lot of guys back off the IL. Like Arias is one of them. Mountcastle, who pinch hit before, is one of them. Westberg is literally the leader of the team. It's not Gunner. It's not Adley. It's Westberg this year at least.
Pittsburgh is
We
good.
got to get a bunch of guys back in the bullpen too.
Yeah.
Coulombe,
We're throwing
your
out Tim
favorite guy.
Mesa as our last guy in our bullpen. It's a 2-run game still. I don't know.
They got plenty of games to clinch.
Yeah, no, it's just frustrating. Whatever.
Yeah.
So, anything else on the Vikings, Texans?
Nah, fuck them
Not worried about the Texans. They'll bounce back. Vikings. The story is Vikings are legit.
for sure.
And the Texans, man, they killed me last year every time I picked them too. I'd seen they were you have those teams where you just can't bet them right. Um,
Yeah.
they might be my team. So I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to think about that next week for sure. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Moving on. This was a game that I wanted a piece of, and my lean was Steelers, but I was buying into Harbaugh. Herbert was starting. So when you
Right.
picked Chargers and it was +2.5, I was like, you know what? I kind of like that. I'm gonna let him pick it and I'm gonna stay away. But sure enough, Steelers 20, Chargers 10, and the Steelers have the best defense in the NFL.
For sure. On all levels. I mean, it's Watt, it's Queen, it's Minka, it's coaching, it's everything. Their defense is elite, but this very well could have been a 3-point game and probably should have been a 3-point game. Still doesn't cover at 2.5, but with the way the possession shook out at the end of the game, the Steelers were able to get an extra possession and basically ice the game away from the Chargers, who got the ball back with I think 6 minutes left and ultimately could have put together a drive to bring it a lot closer, but just didn't happen. Herbert was hurt, and they just, yeah, I mean, they looked like this was a tough game. It was a hard fought game. It was a freaking football game. Give me Mike Tomlin against Jim Harbaugh more, or Jim Harbaugh, yeah, Jim Harbaugh more often. But
It's a
yeah,
fun 20
I
to 10.
had been,
It's a fun 20. Some 2010
yeah,
on that's a
yeah. I had been riding the Steelers the first 2 weeks. I picked them 2 weeks in a row. It's like, maybe this little, life hack is over. And I read an article about Harbaugh keeping the team on the East Coast so they didn't go back and forth on the West Coast. I love stuff like that. I love when coaches think of their players and, they build a team rather than just buy the team. You know what I mean? And I think Harbaugh does a really good job of that. And some of his guys are buying into it. And I don't think this is, a really bad loss for them. I think this was a good game. You just, are figuring out who you are and who Justin Herbert is, and hopefully he's healthy going forward. But um, yeah, they need some help on offense, I think. Um, Joe Alt looks like a legit lineman, rookie. Fantastic, but he's no match for a TJ Watt. So
Yeah, I think all may have gotten hurt in the game too.
he did.
Yeah, MCL sprain. So
Oh, God love it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Herbert's hurting. It's gonna be tough sledding for the Chargers the next.
War of attrition at this point. Bosa will rip a bicep at some point or a pec.
They have the
Just
Chiefs.
always happens.
They have the Chiefs next week as well. So that
Oh, I love the Chiefs. I'm a big fan.
it looks like the opening line is -8 for the Chiefs. That's
Jeez.
too many points for me, but I love my Chiefs. I took them. I didn't. They weren't one of my head-to-head picks, but I did bet on them.
Jeez.
Took them.
Yeah.
We also took the Kelsey touchdown, which I don't know what's going on there, but
You know what? I think, going back to the Super Bowl and him almost bowling over Andy Reid and showing him up on national TV and then going off and having his relationship or whatever. They don't want people constantly betting on them and constantly being in the spotlight and stuff like that. They're probably trying to just keep him healthy, keep him uninvolved, see what else they have because they can just play with their food right now. But yeah, I expect him to get going at some point or for God's sakes, retire midseason, dude, because you look terrible. So, but yeah, that's too many points for me too.
yeah, no, way too much. So Chargers could be in trouble here for a bit, but the Steelers looking legit. Justin Fields has to continue starting. You cannot put Russ Wilson in, no matter whether he's healthy or not. That's
I'm
Fields.
proud of Justin Fields. I like he got the door just slightly ajar with that little, I think, calf injury from Russell Wilson, and he really knocked it down. So you
Yeah,
can't go back. You got Wilson on the veteran minimum on a 1 year deal. He's going to be gone. Fields is the one you invest in, I think.
yeah, no, absolutely. All right. This one pissed me off more than anything else. Panthers 36, Raiders 22. I took the Raiders minus 5.5. The Panthers weren't going to win an NFL game this year. Okay, they bench Bryce Young. Andy Dalton comes in. You knew Dalton was going to give them a little bump. They would look a little better on offense. I was expecting that. But for me, that was baked into the 5.5. I was still Raiders in Las Vegas. The Raiders fans were there ready, and Andy Dalton just tore them apart. Had one of the best quarterback games this season. I think he was the first. I think he was the first quarterback this season, and I could be wrong. I'm quoting something that I heard, but he was the first to have a 300-yard, three touchdown game this year, which they're really the quarterback play has been down tremendously. There have not been a lot of 300-yard games. It might have been in
Yes.
the first half or something. I don't know, but like the bottom line is he had one of the best games of the season from a quarterback, and you can't let that happen if you're the Raiders. I guess Crosby was dealing with an injury a little bit, so he wasn't his full self, but that doesn't explain 36 points for the Panthers. Dalton connected with Adam Thielen, and then the old man Thielen, I think tore something, and now he's out. He's on IR. So
I saw
but
you drop him in fantasy like in
I
one
picked
league
him up in
mid
fantasy. I
game.
was
I
like,
was like,
yeah, no, 'cause I was like, I picked him up, threw him on the bench. I was like, Dalton's gonna find him. Thielen could maybe become a decent flex option moving
you're a
forward.
little old guy
Sure enough,
rapport.
sure enough, yeah, exactly. Sure enough, he scores a touchdown and then he's out, so he's done. So dropped
That
him. I mean,
sucks.
I saw him limping off. I was like, yeah, that's it. So, but
Same
there's
here
I don't
Leggett.
know, I don't know what to make of the Raiders now, and the Panthers moving forward. They're not a good team, but they're a bit more inspired now with Dalton. And I mean, I don't see a path for Bryce Young to really come back unless they lose five straight and Dalton gets hurt, and then maybe Young will be back in there. But it's crazy.
Bryce Young's done. He's Zach Wilson at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And they're pulling the plug early, I think. And that lets you see what else you have. So we'll see. I mean, I think Dalton is going to be, it's going to be tougher to read the Panthers for a few weeks now that this happened. And like you said, the Raiders too. Just kind of puts a shock in it just creates chaos. Like, I don't know what's real, what's up, what's down, what's right, what's wrong. Um, 36 points from the Panthers is insane. Insane.
that's. I mean, Chuba Hubbard looked good. I mean, good for them. But so
Deontay Johnson.
so now you have the 1-2 Panthers playing the 0-3 Bengals in Week 4.
Oh my God. Battle of the Big Cats.
It's the Bengals are 4.5 point favorites. I don't even know what to do there. I mean I might end up taking Bengals minus 4.5. Seeing the Bengals go
Are
over,
you kidding me? Definitely.
but like man, the Bengals have looked bad. like embarrassingly bad. I don't even know. I'm gonna have to look at it. I'm gonna see where the line is into the heading into the weekend. But the fact that
Hey, I would ride the Bengals. I would buy low on them. I think it's a good idea. Joe Burrow plays with the chip on his shoulder. If you give him that motivation, you will see a different player. And he's getting a little bit of heat out there right now, and I don't think he deserves it. He's got two receivers that are really unhappy with their situation, and they gave away Joe Mixon for Zach Moss, which had a good game on Monday, but it didn't have a Joe Mixon game.
no,
So
no, and they lost right tackle Trent Brown for the season.
yeah,
They're
yeah, that's tough.
I don't know, I don't know. We'll see, but Panthers credit to them, and now the fact that they even have just a 4.5 point spread against the Bengals. Who would have predicted that to start the season? So, crazy.
Yeah, that should
But
be a
that was fun.
10-point spread, in my opinion.
Yeah, but hey, maybe we'll take advantage, and then the Panthers just roll again.
Andy Dalton MVP talks.
Yeah. So those are my
Comeback player of the year.
yeah, those are my two losses. Moving on to Eagles 15, Saints 12. This was a win for you. It was a tight one. That was a tight one. You were clenched there. There was a lot going on in the late slate. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, Niners and Survivor. That was just an
don't,
unbelievable. It's
don't even.
it's all happening. You're tracking the Eagles. You got the Niners blowing that. The Cowboys almost came back against the Ravens. The Ravens. We'll talk about that in a second. But Eagles 15, Saints 12. It's weird. I mean, the over for this game was well over, I think 47 or something like that. In New Orleans, you expected offense and you got none of it. 15-12. Jalen Hurts
Right.
throw for 300 yards in the game. Saquon had 147 yards rushing. The Eagles were moving the ball. They were just not really converting it into points. You needed that big Saquon run to put that game in the Eagles' favor. And they were finding Dallas Goedert had an unbelievable game on my bench in fantasy. I
So I had texted you in a number of group chats that I hated Nick Sirianni throughout this game because he decided to kick a field goal while up five, I think it was, something like that, from like 58 yards, whatever it was. It was just a stupid ass decision because they gave the ball back right to the Saints at midfield, and the Saints made him pay right away. The Olave touchdown was beautiful, it was absolutely beautiful. And then his team wins despite him. They go down, they find Dallas Goedert. He runs for 60 yards and switches the field. And that's the type of stuff that really cooks the books. The big playability that like they can't really account for. So Eagles were gonna lose and then got really lucky to come back and win, let alone cover even. So ultimately, I think Sirianni is really struggling without Shane Steichen again this year, and there needs to be some sort of checks and balances on him making calls late in games because he's really aggressive and like it's getting to the point where you know Dan Campbell, does it. He learns from his mistakes, whatever. I don't think Nick Sirianni learns from his mistakes. And I think he just continues to do the same type of shit unless you have somebody kind of checking him a little bit. Like the guy that pulls him from behind, whatever, off the field. Like, hey, Nick, this is a bad idea. But to give the ball back with, I think it was 4 minutes left in midfield rather than try to pin them and make them go 100 yards when your defense was playing pretty darn good was just a silly decision. And I know he's trying to put the game out of reach, but football is not a game of just, it's not always a game of impounding your will or forcing your will on somebody else. Like sometimes there's strategy to it, and you can't always just be that blockheaded dude.
yeah.
If you put him within the 10, this would have been a nothing, bro. Nothing would have happened. They would not have had to come back. I would have not have lost a year of my life watching it. Like it would have been so much better. But his team picks him up again. And I don't know. Something's got to happen there because if you didn't like Doug Pederson being, all gung ho after you won the Super Bowl and whatnot, and you fired him, you're going to let this guy keep running up and down the sidelines, emphatically doing the wrong thing. I think he's got a little bit of a short leash this year if they don't win.
I think so. I mean, Eagles fans are already fed up. They're
Worst
actually,
fan base that turn on you.
yeah, yeah. It doesn't take much either in Phil, but I forget who was announcing the game, but whoever the color commentator was like, "Well, Nick Sirianni's nothing if he's not consistent." That's, I mean, that pretty much sums him up. He's stubborn in his ways. He's gonna take these risks. It's the way he wants to play. And I know, you've gotten on coaches for doing that in the past. Dan Campbell at the Lions making decisions when, should you need to be changing. I get it. I get it. But Sirianni, I don't think has the locker room like Campbell does.
For
Uh,
sure.
and so there's
Good
that
point.
there. But yeah, we'll see. They lose a couple more games. The seat's gonna get hotter than it
Yeah.
already is. So
You went out and got Saquon. You're ready to win.
you're ready
And
to
if
win.
you're
You're ready
holding
to
them
win.
back from wins,
The Super Bowl. It's not a
yeah.
team to fuck around. So we'll see.
I still think they're going to be a deep playoff. They're going to
They're
make a
too
deep playoff
talented.
run.
They're too
They're
talented.
so good.
So we have them winning the East. They're 2-1, along with your Manders, who we'll talk about. But yeah, so Eagles get the win. You get the win there. My lone win on our head-to-head picks against the spread: Ravens 28, Cowboys 25. The score doesn't even really say how dominant the Ravens were in Dallas. The Cowboys had to recover an onside kick. I mean, this was 28-6 in the fourth, and there was a touchdown, an onside kick, recovery. Everything was kind of breaking the Cowboys' way, but the Ravens just kept their heads down, kept the run game going, and boy, did they keep the run game going. I mean, Derrick Henry 151 yards, Lamar Jackson 87 yards, even Justice Hill added 33 yards.
Right.
That's just it was just the Cowboys have the worst now, ranked far down as the worst run defense in the league. They got some issues. The Cowboys have some, and hey, did we not predict this? At least we could feel good about that. We
Yeah.
we had the Cowboys out of the playoffs, and so far at 1-2, they do not look good. The defense is not what it was last year. Um, and we credited that to them letting Dan Quinn go, who is now your head coach. And yeah, well, I'd say it's very evident they're not what they were last year, and I don't think they really have the offense to counteract that.
And now they've just got piles of money invested in two players, three players, Micah on defense. I
Way to
don't know if
win.
you
That's what the
I,
Cowboys always do.
I just don't know. Like Jerry Jones has to be like shitting his diapers for his return on investment here because it's not really working out. Um, I think they'll right the ship a little bit, but you're right. They have no run game and no run defense. And Sean Lee ain't coming back to save you or anything like that. Dan Quinn's gone. It's yeah, it doesn't look good. I mean, you had to know that Mr. Bland wasn't going to return 7 touchdowns, this year.
Yeah.
Trayvon Diggs wasn't going to do what he did 2 years ago. So, you're Dak and CD right now, and you might as well just do that. I think Jake Ferguson was the biggest receiver in this game, right? The tight end. I think he had like 95 yards or
95 yards on 6 catches.
on 6 catches like that. I mean, that's ugly.
11
Where's CD?
He
Where's
had
CD
11
with his 22 targets or whatever? Do what works. Stop like
He had four
doing
catches
different
on
stuff.
7 targets. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. But I mean, Derrick Henry 8. It's funny. The Ravens signed Justice Hill to an extension and told us for 2 weeks, well, this isn't why we signed Derrick Henry. And then they just turned him loose. He was just a monster.
But
So
that's Harbaugh. Harbaugh knows. Look, we're going into Dallas. Their run defense is not good. Let's pound the shit out of the ball, and that's exactly.
yeah,
And that's really how the
it's a
Ravens
good pick by you.
gonna win. Yeah, the Ravens weren't going 0-3. They're too good. It's not a situation like the Bengals are in right now, which is disappointing. But I needed
For
that
sure.
win, and I got it. So you had one play on Monday night. Boy,
Who, me? What? No.
Sunday night, you were talking about just stacking units on this, and I was like, let's talk about it in the morning, and we'll see how we feel. Uh,
Yeah,
and the line did move in our favor, actually. You know, you had officially first pick was +5, Jaguars +5, moved to
right.
5.5 when we took it Monday night, and you know, it's one of those. Hey, the Jags are, Trevor Lawrence can't be this bad, right? I mean, Doug Pederson knows what he's doing, right? Bills 47, Jaguars 10
That
for a
was
second row.
brutal. I have no defense for this. I don't. So if you want to move on, I'm cool with it. But yeah, I was silly confident in this pick. I wrote how Josh Allen can't do it all, but Josh Allen brought every one of his friends to the party, and he had a cook involved as well. So it was. I mean, it was brutal from the get-go. And as much as like I like the Buffalo fans, I love seeing them have success. It's great or whatever. Josh Allen is becoming a villain to me. And I'm still a fan. I think he's good, but like you beat me that bad, I'm gonna hold a grudge. It's like
It's a
I
grudge.
was like shaking fist at Josh Allen specifically. Like, why are you so good in such a great underdog story for a small town team? Like, why is it perfect? But that's what I didn't love about it. I also thought Jags had too much talent to be doing this. Doug Pederson is a Super Bowl winning head coach. What, you just signed your quarterback who's just been God's gift since he was 12 years old to football to a $250 million contract. Travis Etienne's one of my favorite players in the league. Brian Thomas looked legit. Their defense can't be that bad, right? No, completely wrong. So I ate a lot of crow on this one. And and try to do better next week. But this was a bad beat for me.
Where do you go with the Jaguars right now?
I'll probably bet on them again because I'll probably get a nice spread next week, just with how horrible they looked. But my God, stop putting Tank Bigsby on the field. Stop doing just let Trevor Lawrence needs to run. And ever since he hurt his knee, his progression has gone backwards. Trevor Lawrence was always good in college for 50 yards rushing a game, 60 yards rushing a game. Line opens up, there's 5 yards, he takes it. Stuff like that. And he's not doing that anymore. He sailed that one interception too. That was disgusting. I was like, dude, that dude is wide open. It was like 3 stories above him, and it was a DeMar Hamlin's pick. But yeah, it was that was brutal. I flipped to the Commanders as fast as possible, and I was just blinded and happy. So it just
Yeah,
happened in the background.
yeah. So we'll move on to that.
That works.
He didn't take it. We probably should have, but it was one of those, let's see what the Commanders can do, or the Bengals really this bad. It was my lean before was, hey, throw a little bit on Manders and see, but I didn't do it, and I get why, and it was a close final score. It was a back and forth game, fun game, but Commanders 38, Bengals 33, and you have a quarterback, my friend. You have a quarterback.
I'm very scared. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Like, what do I do with my hands, and what do I do with my Sundays? And Monday to me, ever since Deshaun Jackson and the Eagles just absolutely pushed our face in the toilet back in 20, I think 12 it was on Monday night. I've hated NFL football. I've stuck with these guys. But it's also because my quarterback room has been a revolving door. Between Sam Howell and Taylor Heineke and just all these clowns that have been coming in, Carson Wentz for a second. It's just
Call
it's
Taylor
been rough.
Heineke a clown? Come on.
No, I love him. I love his
It's hard
post
to
game
find a coverage
interviews
for
with a
you.
big fat dip in, but he's not an NFL quarterback. Like he's a fun guy. He's like guy you signed to run the practice squad, and you
Yeah.
just say Heineke, go ball out on the defense and let's coach the defense up. But like I'm nervously excited. The one thing about this game though that I absolutely loved was they didn't have a penalty, Washington, until the fourth quarter. And we didn't shoot ourselves in the foot. We converted our opportunities, which we didn't do against the Giants, and has always been a knock on Cliff Kingsbury is the red zone offense. So they were prepared. They looked like they were having fun, and everything that they wanted to do, they were executing. I'm just from a macro standpoint, a little excited. I've got an LSU quarterback, an Alabama running back, and an Ohio State wide receiver. And like that to me, that's money. And the sexiest coaching staff on the sideline of the NFL as well, who the players absolutely love. So it's going to be fun. We need to shore up the secondary for sure. I thought Jamar Chase and T. Higgins would do a little bit better. We're missing Emmanuel Forbes on the injury report, but we started Sanistril, who was a former Michigan corner, and he did okay after he gave up that first bomb to Jamar Chase. Afterwards, he was like, "All right, I'll keep him in front. I'll keep him in front." But we didn't shoot ourselves in the foot, and that was the big thing. And to see Daniels throw a dime to Terry McLaurin, I about cried. I about cried. But it was nice. It was I've never felt that way on Monday Night Football. It's usually pretty brutal.
Yeah. I'm happy for you, man. I mean, we both got wins from our team this way. And look, we both looks like we both have quarterbacks, and we've watched a lot of bad quarterback play throughout our lifetime. So hey, man, let's enjoy this. Let's soak it in. It's
Oh
fun.
yeah. Jersey's in the mail. It's coming.
Yeah, boy. That boy. Let's hope it gets more life than the Dylan Bundy jersey.
Yes. My only other Redskins jersey was Sean Taylor. And I guess that one aged. It
I
didn't age.
that you can wear that still, I would say.
Oh, I had a Rackpo too, yeah.
Ooh, a Sackpo, yeah. Beast.
Yeah.
Well,
Talk about ripping biceps.
those were our plays for the week. It's a little week 3 cap. Thursday night football. Cowboys head to MetLife to play the Giants, who got a win this week. Giants at home against the struggling Cowboys team. Looks like opening lines about 5.5 in favor of the Cowboys. I am gonna be tempted to take the Giants. I will tell you that right now.
Really? Ooh, let's talk about this. What is bringing you to that conclusion? You want to take, I guess it's Dallas -6. I get that.
I like
However,
the Giants.
no, I mean, why would you lean Giants?
Giants at home look good last week.
Okay.
They have a great pass rush. I'll give them that. Their secondary is not great. Defense overall is nothing special, but they're I don't think they were as bad as they looked the first 2 weeks. Dable was coach of the year 2 years ago. Look, I mean, we were asking last week what's going on here, but I mean, when Brian Dable came in here 2 years ago, one coach of the year, surprise team. They weren't expected to be in the playoffs. They did. They won a playoff game. Your GM has given you no offensive talent. He's taken talent away this year by letting Saquon go. They drafted Neighbors, and he is the difference maker. And between Singletary and Jones being able to run on this Cowboys defense, and then Malik Neighbors being Malik Neighbors, I think this is a close game. I'm probably leaning Giants on the points, but we'll see on SoBet um, come Thursday when we pick. But my initial lean is such, and that's my reasoning.
Okay.
Am I
My
wrong?
initial lean is the opposite way. I know we just talked about how bad the Cowboys D is,
That plays
but I
into
just don't see the Giants running game being that good. And Neighbors is incredible. Like, holy goodness, he's so good. But you've got a decent secondary in Dallas to shut down a rookie, I would think, I would hope. And then what do you do? Zone read with Daniel Jones and Devin Singletary and hope
it.
that works? I
Jones
mean,
can run.
Jones can run, that's for sure. But outside of that, I just don't. I mean, 6 points is a lot for sure. But the Dallas Cowboys have underperformed substantially. On the road is a tough ask for sure. But my initial lean would be Cowboys to come out like the Undertaker and just here we go. They're resuscitated by this game. But we'll see because Thursday is usually low scoring. So,
Usually.
does that really lead to a blowout over 6? I don't know.
Divisional game,
Um,
tight, Giants at home.
right. Yeah,
That's
no, so everything that you're leaning towards is definitely smart. Mine is more based on last year, I'd say, and who I think they should be. Um, but we'll see. Yeah, let's see what the line is. And I mean, uh, yeah, I don't even know anybody on the Giants defense. Thibodeau. I
um
don't even,
no, they have Jesus. What is on like Dexter Lawrence. Dexter
oh
Lawrence,
yeah, okay. The D
one of
tackle.
yeah, one of the
That's decent, but the Cowboys are going to be airing it out against them. That's the bread and butter. They got to go Dak and CD. I want to see CD Lamb have 15 targets. If that happens, I think Dallas wins by 10 points, something like that. But if they don't, if they're relying on Jake Ferguson and running Zeke Elliott 20 times for 20 yards, it's just not going to work out.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll
We'll see.
see.
Yeah, we'll
It's a tough
talk.
line.
Yeah, it's a tough line. We'll talk more about it and we'll make our picks on so bet Thursday afternoon. Should be
Word
a
up.
I think it'll be a fun one. Thursday night's been fun. We are 3-0 against the spread on Thursday nights. And
Yeah,
in our biggest unit.
but it sounds like this is going to be a tougher decision to make.
Yeah. Well, we'll discuss. We'll discuss.
Right.
I think it's time we move on to a little bit of the good, the bad, and the shitty. Would you like to start us off, or would you like me to get us going?
Sure. I can start with my good. Uh that's Jayden Daniels. I mean, that's the low hanging fruit. That's the easy one, but it's also the game that I watched the most of, and the player I was most impressed with um this weekend. Um they kept talking about how many games he started in college. He was you know, a I think 55 games it was from a true freshman at Arizona State under Herm Edwards all the way to his career at LSU. He's got the experience. He doesn't get rattled. Sometimes he looks like he's having too much fun and he's smiling too much. And I'm like, that
Exciting.
makes me nervous. I'm like, why is this guy having a blast playing football? And then I remember like you usually play better if you're like just out there, balling like Lamar. But yeah, I had called Daniels like RG3 light. He doesn't want to slide. And I don't really hate it, but like he's a skinny man. I just hope he continues to hold up with all the rushing that he's been doing. But through the air, he looked pretty good. The bomb to Terry McLaurin was just, I mean, it was gorgeous. It made me feel a certain way. And then just to see him pull the ball in and then jump into the end zone, like this little hop and skip, like I'm having fun. His first NFL touchdown was to the tackle. It was great. It was fun to watch, and it was just so unique for me to enjoy somebody who could control a team, control the clock. It was at one point he's like, let me give me the plays, the Mahomes type of thing, or whatever. But he's yelling at Kingsbury to go for it on the fourth, and they go for it, they get it. Like I loved it, and the fact that the team had no penalties for almost the whole game, to me, just that is the thing. I'm watching, one of the service academies play football, but you don't shoot yourself in the foot. I'm so used to Kirk Cousins throwing that interception on the game-winning drive. The RG3's ankle breaking in the middle of the playoffs. Like I'm used to this stuff. But Taylor Heineke just being too small but having the biggest heart. Jayden Daniels is a whole package, and I'm pretty pumped about it. And I'm just gushing now, so I'm going to stop.
I love it. We should gush, like you said. I
Yeah.
mean, look, it's 3 weeks. That was his first big game, but everything you saw out of him, you had to love. So awesome, awesome.
Who's your good?
My good, Tarik Skubal.
Wow.
7 scoreless against the Rays Tuesday, helping my fantasy teams and helping the streaking Tigers kind of cement their spot in the wild card right now. The Twins and Royals are in a tailspin, and the Tigers are in this. They're in the second spot right now, and they're looking very good. Um, Tarik Skubal's the Cy Young, the AL Cy Young this year, and he's just cemented it with these. His last start was one of their biggest games and his biggest start of his career, dominated, and then the same tonight. And yeah, it's the Rays, their offense sucks, but bottom line is he got the job done, did what he needed to do. and they got a big win. He is legit. He's fun to watch. He got that last down on a strikeout and just was fired up today. Playoff baseball's here, and that's awesome. And the Tigers are a part of it. And I had this before the season. I wish I say this all the time, man. I don't like betting futures. I need my immediate gratification. I don't have the patience, but I can at least, it's on tape.
This is an 800 number for you, sir.
I can say it. I took the Tigers this year in the playoffs, and then they're looking like they're right there behind this absolute stud in Skubal. So I'm impressed. Impressed. He's my good.
For
I'll
sure.
keep us going. My bad. Kind of a sad story, but weird. Brett Favre today spoke and announced that he's got Parkinson's. Um, he cites directly concussions for the reason. Look, Brett Favre is no Boy Scout. He's done some things, late in his career, after his career. He's got a lot of court cases going, a lot of lawsuits. It's it's been rough, but I think he'll probably people probably ease off him a little bit now. I hope he's okay. Parkinson is not fun. Hope he's okay. But this is why you see the guardian caps in the NFL and the rule changes. You watch it and it's like, where's the old NFL? Well, the old NFL hurt a lot of people. They've managed to make the product still very enjoyable. Me and you will watch on Sunday. We'll complain. This should be a big hit. Blah blah. Come on, that's football. And a lot of times it is. I'm not saying I agree with every rule change. Some of these flags, some of these roughings, and unsportsmanlikes are just ridiculous. It's overcorrection at times, but the intentions there, I think there's obviously things that they need to do so that these older players, these and now these young players have lives after their career ends. And these NFL careers are not long. So sad story. Hope Brett's okay.
But yeah, you feel for somebody like that, especially,
Tough.
you know, yeah, I think he was dealing with some like dementia problems too. Like,
Yeah. It's
but
no good.
well said. Yeah.
Go on. Who is your bad?
My bad is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars and Doug Pederson as a head coach. I hate to go back to it, but you've got all the tools in the world to be successful, and you just completely flop on Monday night, which was pretty brutal. I was not too happy with that. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is awful, but overall, I think that you're doing a bad job there, and it really hurt me. So I'm going with Doug Peterson. It really was Nick Foles. That's all I have to say about that.
True. Trevor Lawrence has to start showing something. I mean,
Right.
injury, whatever. Got to play better.
Yeah. I'll keep us going with the shitty though. The shitty was after the record of NFL field goals that we had. We had a horrendous NFL field goal kicking week. A lot of misses. Also, a lot of I felt like makeup calls by refs. I felt like there was a lot of correction to what had happened in week 2 this week from teams and personnel and results, but also from flags. The Rams coming back on the 49ers. They moved down the field like 50 yards. There was that one play, 3 flags on one play. Like, I get it. If there's a penalty, there's a penalty. But at the same time, I just want consistency. That's all we want is consistency. It's what we said last week. And I feel like from week 1 to week 3, I don't know where the consistency lies, whether it be with the teams, the offense, the defense, the special teams, the referees, the head coaches, whatever. It's just a wild football year right now. And hoping it gets a little bit more predictable, but of course it never is. It's an unpredictable game. But yeah, so my shitty was just kind of week 3 as a whole.
Yeah, agreed. That's that. I'll just say that week 3. That was the shitty.
Yeah. What about you? Who's your bad?
My shitty.
Oh,
Not bad. They are deserving of this, as I say it. The shitty of the week. The Pittsburgh Pirates owner Bob Nutting, GM Ben Charrington. I don't know if you saw this yet,
Mm-mm.
but I mean, the Pirates are in the midst of another bad season. They've been a train wreck for a long time, and they're just one of those organizations that just don't seem to do things the right way. And what they did today was pretty telling on that. Rowdy Tellez, who is a guy, a veteran who, by all accounts, great clubhouse guy. Everybody loves him. He played a ton of games for the Pirates this year, signed a 1 year deal. He was 4 plate appearances away from a $200,000 bonus, and the Pirates DFA'd him today. He played 131 games for this team this year. It's a 1 year contract. It's done at the end of the year. There was no reason to do this other than being cheap, saving 200K away from a player who gave you guys a full year of his life, played his butt off. It's pathetic. GM Ben Charrington, he tried to play it off, said it had nothing to do with the contract clause. Why else would you DF? You're eliminated from the playoffs. You have nothing to play for.
Right.
Your season ends next week. His contract ends at the end of the season. It's not like you're on the hook for it later. The only reason that you did this was to save $200,000 and take it out of one of your players' pockets. And
Yeah.
it's a shitty thing to do. So Pirates, Bob Nutting, Ben Charrington, you suck. That's what I got to say about that.
I mean, Ben Jarrington has always kind of sucked. I was just like, and from when he was in Boston, like,
Yeah, you're not gonna
yeah,
hear an argument from me.
yeah. I don't know. I just never liked him.
No, he's a bet. He's a
I
shit.
don't like, signing yeah, well, we'll let it stand on that.
Yeah, the Pirates are shit. That's the bottom line. All right. I think that's all we got this week. We're looking forward to a hopefully fun and hopefully we can win some money in week 4. We were like just in our head this week in total. So we want to fix that. I'm 3-6 in our head-to-heads. You're 6-3. I gotta fix that. I need a big week. So our Thursday night picks, we'll have our main play on TikTok, but all of our plays will be on exclusively on SoBet. We won almost 4 units last Thursday. You're gonna want to be on there. But we'll have our probably on the line, which we're 3-0 on Thursday night lines. The line will be on TikTok and whatever socials. Looking forward to Thursday. We got Yanks Orioles happening right now. I mean, it's a great time to be a sports fan. NHL, NBA are gearing up. Preseason is starting. This is why we love sports. So
Went
let's
three and
win
one
some.
on college this weekend too.
Yes, you did. Very
Yeah.
nice. Buckeyes look good. So
Only
congrats.
in the second quarter though.
Yeah, that second quarter was perfect. I mean,
That was a
that's just
sneaky play.
there was too many points. They
It
dominated
was.
the game. It is what it is. But
Yeah.
exciting times. Follow us. Well, Chris, do you have anything else for us before?
No, no, it's the Nexus right now, the sports equinox, like we said. It's
Yeah.
exciting. Went home and there was hockey fans in Penn Station. It was weird.
Yeah, it's gearing up, man. It's that
Yeah.
time. Good stuff. Chris, always a pleasure. Appreciate everybody listening wherever you are, watching on YouTube, listening Spotify, Apple. Uh, appreciate the support. Keep following us. YouTube, like, subscribe at the Sports Clash, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're on it. Find us at the Sports Clash. Thank you all. Let's have a fun week. Have a great night.